Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Balance in Life, guiding children and teens through uncertain times. I'm Crystal Tyler Mackey, welcoming you on behalf of the Virginia Cooperative Extension Human Development Program Team and our partners, NC Cooperative Extension. We are happy to have this conversation today with our expert speaker, Rebecca Campbell from Chesterfield Prevention Services. And we welcome your activity in the chat. One of the things we enjoy doing is having an active chat during this session. So as a quick reminder, the format that we use is Zoom webinar format. In the chat box, you have two options. Your default option, if you post something in the chat, will appear to Bethany, Rebecca, and myself. We will be the only people who see it as panelists. If you want the other attendees to see it, just use the three dots and choose on the drop down all panelists and attendees, and that way everyone who is participating will be able to see your commentary. So without further ado, I am going to pass the mic over to Rebecca, who's going to lead us in this crucial conversation today. So welcome, Rebecca.
Hello, thank you for having me today, and good morning. I have a PowerPoint today, so let me try to share that with you. Just bear with me for a second. All right, can you all see that? Perfect. So my name is Rebecca Campbell. I'm with Chesterfield County Mental Health. I'm a prevention specialist, so I work with children of all ages, elementary, middle, and high school, and I work with parents as well. So I'm here today to talk to you all about stress and anxiety in times of uncertainty. So the uncertainty of this situation with COVID-19 has likely increased fear and anxiety within everyone here on the webinar today, and most likely a lot of the children in our lives as well. So I'm here today to give you all some tips about practical things that we can do as adults to help our children navigate this time. So whether things are uncertain or not, all children benefit and thrive off of having routine and structure. So it's important as adults to help create this routine and structure in the lives of our children. So whether it's waking up at a certain time every day, if our kids are young enough to be taking naps, make sure their nap time is at the same time every day, making sure we go to bed at the same time every day. So really having that consistency and structure can help our kids feel safe and secure and know what to expect. So that's especially vital in a time of chaos when we don't really know what's going on or what's expected of us in the outside world. Another tip for adults is to offer choices to our kids. A lot of times our kids don't have choices in their day-to-day lives because we make all the choices for them. So during the times where they can have choices, it's really important that us as adults provide those choices for them. So for example, this can look like offering them choices on what to have as a snack that day. So do you want an orange today for a snack? Or would you like the celery with peanut butter and some chocolate chips as your snack? Which would you prefer? So they're getting a snack, but we're offering them a choices of what snack to have. It could also look like for the bedroom routine, what do you want, what book would you like for us to read tonight? Do you want to read book A or book B? Or would you like to go over to your bookshelf and pick out a book for us tonight? So this really gives them a sense of control and influence over their world, in their world where they don't have a lot of control or influence. This could also look like for older teens or older children, picking out the game that we want to play for game night or picking out what movie we're going to watch as a family. So making sure that we offer those choices. Another tip for us as adults and to also help our children is to really practice healthy physical things for ourselves. So making sure we eat healthy, balanced meals, making sure we get quality sleep at night, making sure we exercise or have some sort of fun or activity throughout the day. So these healthy practices are going to help our physical bodies, but it's also going to help us thrive mentally and emotionally as well. When we are taking care of our bodies and our physical self, we're more able to handle the challenges that life throws at us. Managing stress is really important that we take the time to recognize what's making us stressed, and then things that we can do to relax and manage that stress. And this is what I'm going to focus the rest of our webinar on today. And then lastly, that modeling self-care. So our kids really look to their adults in their lives to learn what to do in different situations. So if we're as adults modeling self-care, we're teaching our kids what to do when we're feeling strong feelings. If we're modeling talking about our feelings, our kids learn that it's okay to talk about feelings, and that you as the adult is someone that they can talk to about whatever they're feeling, because they see that you're already doing this on your own. So it's really important to model what we preach and model as a way of teaching our kids as well. So let's talk about stress. I want to share just a couple definitions with you all when we talk about stress and before moving forward on how to manage stress. So stress is the body's emotional and physical response to life's demands. We all experience stress. It's a typical, normal human emotion, and it's really beneficial to us. So as kids, there's certain things developmentally that causes us stress, but it offers us a way to grow. So stress is beneficial in that way. Stress is also, in the evolutionary perspective, beneficial because it motivates us to do things. So if we have a test coming up or a presentation or something that's expected of us, that stress that we feel motivates us to study or prepare, and it gives us that edge to complete that successfully. Stress also gives us the adrenaline and the energy to get out of a dangerous situation. So if we feel stressed out, or we feel worried or anxious about something that's potentially dangerous to us, then we have the energy to get away and be safe. So there's that evolutionary component of stress. However, sometimes we feel stress when there is no danger. We perceive danger where there is none. And so that can turn into anxiety, which can be really harmful to us. We have, everybody has a stress threshold. And this is the amount of stress that you can endure with comfort. I like to think of it as a little cup, and everybody's cup is a little bit different. Some are wider, some are bigger, some are smaller, but that just shows how much stress you can endure with comfort before you react or start feeling the effects of it, right? So different people can experience different amounts of stress before needing to do something about it. Kids these days are more anxious than ever. Anxiety disorders affect over 13% of children, and anxiety disorders are the most prevalent psychiatric conditions among children today. So this topic is so needed, not only in times of COVID, but even beyond COVID. So it's really important that we're talking about this. So let's talk about really quickly, what are some of the sources of stress that our children are experiencing? Sources of stress that affect our kids, whether it's elementary, middle, high school, are academics. There's so many stresses, so many pressures put on them academically. Our routine, especially if we're overscheduled, that can produce stress in the lives of our kids. Demands for time, life changes. So sometimes life changes can be really positive, right? Like graduating or or moving up into 8th grade, or going to middle school, or something that's really exciting for our kids. But even the positive, exciting changes can also be sources of stress for our children. Peer-related issues and family stressors as well. Stress is also defined by developmental stages as well. So there's certain stressors or certain fears that we see in different developmental stages. So in infancy, we see the stress or the anxiety of stranger anxiety, right? So this is around the time that our kids start noticing, or infants, start being able to differentiate between the familiar faces of their parents and strangers. And so they might start to cry or cling when a stranger starts to approach. So that would be an anxiety or a form of stress for infants. In early childhood, we start to see the separation anxiety. And so that's because they have started to develop that healthy attachment to their caregiver. And when their parent separates from them, that is a form of anxiety. You might see that child crying or tearful or sad, or they might be fearing that their parent or their caregiver is going to desert them. This typically resolves by the time the child enters kindergarten. And then in the early elementary age, we start to see other sources of stress, right? They have new access to information. And so then they start to fear or have anxiety over real world dangers like fires or burglars or storms or illness or drugs. But then over time, they realize that these aren't imminent dangers, that these are risks that are kind of a remote situation, right? So they learn to overcome that and realize that it's not an imminent threat to them. In middle school, we see our kids start having anxiety about social status. They start to worry about social comparisons. They start to worry about their academic success. So they might have concerns about academic performance or athletic performance, and then who they identify within a group. In high school, those things are still there, so they continue to be worried about social acceptance, but with greater concern for the group that then reflects who they identify with. We also see in our teenagers concerns about the larger world or moral issues in their future successes. So these are all different forms of stressors for kids on a developmental level. There's lots of different signs and symptoms of stress. So signs are the things that we see, and symptoms are the things that are experienced. I like to say that this is a big list. I've categorized it in 3 different buckets. So there's the emotional signs and symptoms, there's the behavioral signs and symptoms, and there's the physical signs and symptoms. So it's important that we recognize these signs and symptoms, because then we can then help our kids recognize it as well. With our kids, we can see different signs and symptoms as well. So just like there's developmental sources of stress, there's also some developmental signs and symptoms of stress as well. So in the preschool age, we might see our kids whining, they might seem irritable, they might seem sad or restless or tearful. By the time they get into elementary school age, we see some sadness, some guilt, some anger as well. And then in the teenage years, it might look more like open hostility, anger, acting out behavior. So there's different ways that kids developmentally experience or show that they're feeling stressed. With these, this is just a list of things that someone may experience. It doesn't mean that every child or every teenager is going to experience all of these. And you might have two different children experiencing the same stressor, but they might showcase different signs and symptoms. So it's very individualized for our kids, just like it is for our adults. So once we recognize signs and symptoms, there's things that we can do to help our kids and our children with stress. So the first thing to do is to identify their stress. With teenagers, they're more likely to be able to identify their own stress, but for younger kids, they may need some help in identifying their stress. So one thing that we can do as adults is recognize that our kids are feeling stressed or worried or anxious about something, and then label that feeling for them. So we can say, hey, it looks like you're feeling stressed, or it looks like you're worried about such and such. And so we're giving them that feeling word, and then they're able to then be able to identify that feeling later on. We're expanding their feeling vocabulary. Help them to see patterns of their behaviors. So, hey, I noticed that every time that you have a quiz or a test, you seem to get stomach aches. I think maybe you're feeling worried about your test or your quiz. And so you're connecting that physical symptom that they're experiencing with that feeling word. So then they're able to see some patterns. Earlier in this webinar, I talked about the need for structure and consistency and routine. And so if you know that there's going to be a change to that routine, help prepare them in advance for that change. And that can help alleviate some of that stress or worry or fear that they'll experience. You know the kids that you have, you know the kids that you work with. So if you know that they have a harder time dealing with change, then you can spend more time preparing them for that change. Be concrete on what they can expect. Answer any questions they have. So they might have a lot of questions about what's going on with COVID, or they might have a lot of questions about what's going on with something in their lives. And so answer those questions to the best of your ability. If you don't know, that's okay. You can tell them, hey, I'm not really sure either, but maybe we can find out the answer together. Or this is what I do know. And so that tells them that it's okay. You're modeling that you can be okay without knowing everything that's going on. And so that can really help them too. And then use active listening skills. A lot of times our kids don't feel heard, right? Because we as adults, we have our own problems. And sometimes it feels like our problems are real problems, and kids' problems, they're not really that big of a deal. But it's important to recognize that in the kids' perspective, whatever that worry is, whatever they're experiencing, is a huge deal to them. And they might not have the life experiences of overcoming these hurdles, whereas adults, we've been through a lot of hurdles, and so smaller things seem small, but to kids, those smaller things seem huge. So we want to use our active listening skills to then help our kids. So in our department, we use this technique called the river technique. And this is really great because you can use this for a lot of different situations that you're in. You can use this when working with adults. You can use this when working with kids. You can use this when your child is feeling stressed, but you can also use it when they're feeling lots of other big feelings too, like mad or sad, or maybe even happy, right? So the R in river, the first R stands for relationship. So we're always building that relationship with our kids. We're available to our kids. We are noticing when our kids most likely need to talk, right? Or we're noticing when their behavior changes because we have that relationship with them. Be mindful that sometimes our kids have different times when they want to talk, right? So sometimes it's right at bedtime and they just want to open up and share everything with us. Other times, especially with teenagers, is when we're in the car together, is when they want to talk. So that would be a good time to have that conversation. With our relationships with our kids, sometimes it's really important for us as the adults to be the one that initiates the conversation. And it doesn't always have to be, hey, I've noticed you felt this, but it could really be modeling, talking about feelings and saying, wow, today I really felt worried when I heard such and such. How did you feel about it? And so you're opening up that conversation and letting them know that, wow, you're being vulnerable and talking about your feelings, and that's okay to do. And that you're asking them because you're really concerned and you really want to know their responses as well. So we have that relationship. When we start noticing that our kids are feeling a certain way, especially if they are younger and they don't have the words to express how they're feeling, us as the adult using the I, identifying the feeling, can help them learn that word. Wow, it looks like you're feeling really worried. Wow, it looks like you're feeling really mad. And they're like, yeah, I do feel mad. With adolescents, with our teenagers, they're more likely to tell you how they're feeling. And so even if you're wrong, if they're not feeling worried, they will tell you, no, I'm not worried at all. I'm really frustrated. I'm really upset. So then there you go. You have the feeling that they're feeling. And then you can say, well, why is it that you're feeling that way? What's going on? And you can get some information from them on that. And then the V is validating that feeling. And this is really, really important. It's important for our kids, just like it's important for adults, to recognize that their feelings are important and it's okay that they're feeling the way that they're feeling. This shows empathy. So you validate that feeling. Wow, I can really see why you would feel stressed during this time. I would also be upset if my friends did such and such, if they left me out. So that's, I can see why you're feeling that way. And once you validate that feeling, you'll see that they have some sort of emotional release. It could be that you just see their body physically relax, right? If they have their hands clenched, they could open up. Or they might cry, or they just might start talking more. So it's just a little shift with that emotional release. Once you have that emotional release, then you can redirect to problem solving. What can we do to help solve this problem? What can we do to help you feel better? And you're giving them the choices. You're letting them take the lead on this. You're not solving the problem for them. All right, so when we're doing that, we also want to make sure if we notice that our children are stressed, we're not only having that conversation, we're not only using our active listening skills, but we want to do the best that we can to keep our home life stable. We want to be accepting of temporary regression, so know that that's just a symptom or a sign of stress. And so be okay with that. Don't get too upset. Don't give them a hard time. But once the stress is over, then it's okay to expect them to go back to that mature behavior. You want to watch yourself and how you respond, even your facial expressions. You don't want to impose judgment on your kid for feeling stress. You don't want to have so much stress that it's making your kid feel stressed, right? So you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, so then you can take care of your kid as well. And you want to really make sure that you're normalizing the behavior and normalizing the emotions. There's a lot of kids who are feeling really stressed right now. There's a lot of teenagers who are going through some of the same things. And I know it's tough, but you're not alone in this. So there's different ways to manage stress. And so these are just 3 key strategies that I like to use when working with kids of all ages, right? So these breathing techniques, deep breathing, as simple as it is, can have such a profound impact on relaxation and relieving stress. There are ways to do this that's developmentally appropriate depending on the age of your child. So if you have a young child, you can do dragon breathing, where you breathe in through the nose for a count of 1 or a count of 2, depending on the comfort level of your child. You breathe in through the nose, and then you want to exhale like you're a dragon releasing their fiery breath. Just like that. And then have them do it a couple times. So you breathe in, then like you're a dragon. Other kids like to do like colorful breathing, where they close their eyes and they breathe in for a count of 2 or a count of 3. And they imagine one of their favorite calming colors filling their body all the way to the tips of their toes, all the way to the tips of their fingers. And then they're breathing that out into the world again, right? And they're getting rid of that anxious feeling when they're breathing out. They can even pair this breathing technique with positive thinking. So they can pair that with thinking, I'm gonna be okay, I can get through this, or just simple words like relax or calm can help them. As an adult, remember I've been talking about modeling. You can tell your child, I had a really stressful day today, but I did some deep breathing and now I feel better. Or you can say, I really need to relax. Will you do some breathing with me? And then you can make it into a game on, can you match your breathing with me? So there's lots of different breathing techniques. There's finger breathing, where you can trace your hand and you inhale while you're going up, and then you exhale when you're going down your fingers. And some kids really like this because it's also grounding, because they feel their finger going up and down their fingers. And so that can feel really relaxing to them. Progressive muscle relaxation is when you tense muscle groups and you relax them. And so this one is a lot of fun too. You can search online. There's lots of different scripts. You can go to YouTube and it's scripted for you. But it's all about going through your muscle groups and tensing and relaxing. For kids, I like to do a lemon squeeze. So we make lemonade, where you go and you pick up the largest lemon you can and you squeeze and you squeeze and you squeeze, and you're trying to get all that juice out of that lemon, right? And then you shake your hands free of all that lemon juice. And then you want to pick up another lemon and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. And so you're really tensing those muscles in your arms, and then you release. And then you can add sugar. So you're dumping sugar in there. And then you want to mix it all together. And so it's just so much fun for kids. I do this in elementary school. Sometimes even middle school, they like it. So they really get interested in that one. There's also scripts where you can pretend to be animals, and kids like that too. So you can say, when turtles get scared, they go into their shell. And so you want to lift your shoulders to your ears and really squeeze it. All right, and the danger's gone, so you release. And so it's tensing the muscles, right? So there's lots of different scripts online that you can do, and it's fun to do it with your kids too. Progressive muscle relaxation is one of my favorite ways to relax as an adult, and the kids love it. And then there's also guided imagery, where you can listen to a script and just imagine that you're someplace that's peaceful, that there's no stresses, and it just helps you relax. So you can go to your favorite place and just imagine the smells and the sounds and the sights. So for some people, that's the beach. For other people, that's the mountains. And for other people, it's a favorite childhood memory. So I'm all out of time. Those are some great strategies that you can use. There's lots of apps that you can use to use these strategies. There's the Calm app, there's the Headspace app, there's a virtual hope box. YouTube has lots of great videos for relaxation, but do this with your child, make it fun, do this with your teenager, and practice it when you're not feeling stressed, so that when they are feeling stressed, you say, oh, remember when we did that deep breathing, and they can do that, and they've already practiced how it feels. So thank you all so much for giving me your attention today. I'm going to stop sharing. And if you have any questions, feel free to message Crystal, and she will answer those for you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rebecca. It's been such a lot of good information and a lot of good tips. And so, as always, folks have asked about the recording link and the slides. We will send those out to you. I posted in the chat, one of the things that Rebecca shared earlier was a link to Go Noodle for some children's activities on mindfulness. And so those will come, and when we send out the link in the slide deck, we'll list some other resources for you. There are a couple of other things that we wanted to share out with you, and I think Bethany is posting those in the chat. There has been a Mindful Mondays opportunity through Virginia 4-H, and so there is one coming up this Monday. So if you look for that in the chat, we'll also send that information out in the recording link, so an opportunity for you to come on in a live Facebook streaming session and participate, and that's in the chat box. There's also an event that is happening through Operation Parent on Monday that's going to go a little bit deeper into this conversation about children and anxiety. So we will include that in the link, but Bethany is also going to post a link to that in the chat if people want to go a little bit deeper. She and I have both participated in some of the earlier sessions that they've offered, and they've been really good and really helpful. And so we wanted to share that information with everyone here as well. Next week, as you know, we'll be back, same time, same place, different topic. Next week, we're going to talk about organizing. We know a couple people have started school already, and some are about to start, and whatever the varied formats might be. So we have a couple of folks coming on to talk to us about some tips for organizing our spaces and our schedules. And it's interesting, Rebecca just talked about the routines and the piece about routines. So we'll have some ideas and tips for that next week. So having said that, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. You can find this and any previous recordings on our website. And thank you, Rebecca, so much for talking us through this and for giving us some good food for thought. And I will just lift up that I appreciate how you really paced it out and talked about the differences for children among the different age groups. So thank you all. Thanks everyone for being here, and have a fantastic weekend.
All right, you too. This was good stuff for adults too. I'm going to use some of these on myself.
Agreed. Agreed. Bye, everyone.